Hey everyone, it's Emily. Welcome to Mama from Scratch. Today is the first fall decorate with me in the new house. I am very excited to decorate this space and change it up a little bit for the fall season, adding in some moody colors and everything. I am going to be working on a few different DIYs, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. And I want to say a big thank you to Cricut for partnering through today's video. We're going to be making a beautiful fall sign that you guys will be able to recreate as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to clear out this space and show you the first DIY, which is actually the entryway table. I do not like the color of it currently. It just doesn't really go with the tones that I have in the house. So I'm actually going to be refinishing this and giving it new life, and it's gonna look so beautiful, and it's gonna really change the way the whole space looks. And hopefully you guys will be inspired after watching today's video and get lots of ideas on ways you can decorate and transform your home. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. And to start the DIY for this entryway table, I'm taking it outside and giving it a good sand. I'm using 80 grit, and then I'll go back with 220 grit. I'm opening up the grain. Anytime that you are sanding furniture or any type of wood, you want to make sure you sand in the grain of the wood direction, because if you go horizontal and the grain's going vertical, you will see that when you're all done. So don't do that. Once I'm done sanding, I'm going to go and blow it all off with the air blower to help remove some of the dust, but then I'm going to use my tacky cloth and remove the rest of the sanding dust from the project. So I'm using Zinner's Bin Primer. This is a shellac primer, which is really good for laminate and non-wood surfaces and wood surfaces. It kind of works for everything. It's a great stain blocker. Just give it a mix. It settles pretty easily. It does smell, so make sure you're ventilated in there, but this primer is awesome at stain blocking. It works great. I've used it on my kitchen cabinets, my mudroom. This is definitely a primer you want to use for certain projects. If you use the wrong primer, well, your project could be ruined, so don't do that. When I'm using this, typically I use a disposable brush. I didn't have any, so I'll just have to use like denatured alcohol to clean my brush, and it comes out flawless. I'll show that to you later. But when you're using this primer, you have to work quickly. It dries within 45 minutes, but honestly, it kind of gets really tacky within a minute. So make sure you smooth it out really quickly and you work in small sections. The other thing I want to mention is that if you're going to be painting your furniture a light color, this is a great primer because it stain blocks. If you have knots in your furniture for real wood, those knots will eventually yellow, and you will see that if you don't use the right primer. So be careful what you use. This one works really well. Now that the primer is all dry, I'm sanding it down again with 220 grit, giving sure it's nice and smooth. I will blow it off with the air blower, and then I will use my tacky cloth to remove any last sanding dust. And then you're going to want to clean out the area that you're going to be painting this in, that way you don't get any dust particles on it while you're painting. And just like the primer, you want to make sure that you use a specific paint made for the project. Since this has laminate in it, I'm just using the leftover Black Magic paint that I got from Sherwin-Williams in the Emerald line, and that is made specifically for cabinetry and laminate for surfaces, so you're going to get a nice finish on it. And this type of paint actually hardens over time. It's similar to the Benjamin Moore line that they have, the advanced paint. It works really well. I'm very happy with it. So I decided to spray this instead of rolling it entirely, and it just goes a lot faster. And I just set the sprayer to low with my 4-inch sprayer and went to town. This is the same brush I used with that primer, and look how clean and fluffy it is. Isn't that amazing? So now I'm going to get it dirty again and actually brush on the top coat for the table to get a nice thick coat on it, and then I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I will finish spraying that down for a nice smooth finish. Totally optional, but it's just what I decided to do. Okay, so now that the console table is all painted and it's still curing, we're not going to tackle this wall quite yet. We're going to work on the opposite wall with the board and batten. I put this board and batten in, I think in January, and I love the way it looks. It's quite tall though, and so it's kind of throwing me for a little bit of a loop on how I want to put a sign here. I definitely want there to be a sign here because on this wall there's a mirror, as you saw, and I think that's a better spot for a mirror than here because I have mirrors over there as well. So I'm thinking of putting a sign here, but I gotta figure out what size I want and what color I want to do it. So I also, just in reference, I made the board and batten taller because this wall is 12 feet and it's at an angle, and it just looks better than it being shorter because it kind of looked like I was stuffing it. So I have a couple signs that I'm going to see if I can use. This sign right here I made a few years ago. It's already fall for me, and it's actually double-sided, which is great. But I was thinking of putting it up here, and you'll have to let me know if you like that spot. And the other spot I was thinking was down here. So visually, this is at eye level, so I think that's better because typically you hang art at eye level. But up there, I feel like it's such a blank slate. So we're gonna have to play that by ear. But there's this sign, which I think the size of it works really well with the bench. And I'm trying to repurpose as much as I can, but we are gonna be making a new sign. Don't worry about that. We're not gonna just stick with one where we're gonna make a custom sign. And then I have this one, which is bigger. So we have to decide if we like this size. And I know it's Christmas. Look at the color and the size of it, okay? So that being here, I feel like looks good, but I'm not sure if I like, I don't know. I feel like it looks too big. I don't even know that's how it's possible because the wall is so big, but I feel like this sign, the harvest one, is just better proportioned to me. So we're actually gonna, I think I'm gonna go with this size, and we're gonna use this as our base. So instead of getting a whole new board and trimming it out, I'm gonna just use the leftover batting that I had from the mudroom, and I'm gonna make it fit into this sign. Kind of cool, right? So I'm just gonna cut it to size, take this measurement, cut it to size, and it's gonna fit right in here. And then I can either nail it on, I can glue it on, which I don't really wanna do because I wanna be able to keep it a workable sign. I like variety. So I'm thinking of maybe using like either like a tack or like Velcro in two different areas that isn't really gonna ruin the paint, but that would hold it in place, and then we can change it out if I wanna change it out, and it would be cool. So I think the black is actually better looking than the white on the wall. I feel like I wanna kinda do more of a plummy color, like the purple maple. I think is gorgeous, but I think it might be too bright for the wall. So I think I'm just gonna use it as an accent color with the florals and stuff and pillows, and then make the sign maybe just black, which is still bold, but I think it could work. So let's get started making the sign. I used my table saw and cut down the board to size, and instead of priming this because I'm using a dark color, I'm just going to go straight over it with the same paint I used earlier for the table, just because it was out and I had it on hand. If you are going to be doing a lighter sign, I definitely suggest priming this board because it is pretty dark and you don't want that to show through. So I ended up doing 2 coats on this, let it dry between coats, and then to save your roller or your brush, just wrap it in some cellophane. That way it will stay nice and moist for you. So now we're in Cricut Design Space and we're going to start a new project. I'm going to go to text and start writing out what I want my fall sign to make. I am going to be using the Cricut Explorer 3. I'm so excited to have this new machine because let me tell you, it is amazing. It can cut up to 12 feet in one go, and it's like 2 to 3 times faster than the other machines. It works amazing, and you can cut over 100 different materials with it. It's pretty awesome. So I'm using Magnolia Sky for the font here, and I kind of shrunk it down a little bit to make the letters kind of sync a little bit, and then I'm manually moving them together. And then once I get them in their spot that I want them to be in, I will highlight the whole thing and then group them back together so the word stays together and I can move it and stretch it however much I want. This little lock tool on the bottom allows you to freely move it versus keeping it square. Now I'm going to go into images, and Cricut Design Space has thousands of options for you to choose from. You just type in a keyword and it will give you lots of different options for to choose from. And so I wanted to add like some pumpkins or flowers and leaves to this, and I'm kind of just going with the flow here and kind of figuring out what looks best. And then I kind of figured out, I think I like this saying. I wanted something a little bit different, but I also wanted to add like some type of sunflower. And so I decided to actually go with these Black-Eyed Susans. They kind of caught my eye and they're very delicate, and I just thought it would be really pretty, and they're so fall. They're just gorgeous. Now you can make this colored if you wanted to. My sign is just going to be all one color. So keep that in mind. You can tailor the colors, you can change the out and things like that. Just like the fonts, you can use 2 different fonts if you want, 5 different fonts. Once I get it kind of where I want, I highlight the whole thing and attach it. That way it doesn't move. And then I end up sending it to the Cricut machine, and then I will go through and pick my vinyl. I'm actually using Smart Vinyl for this, which does not require a mat at all. How awesome is that? Cricut has done such an amazing job with their new machines. So whether you have an old machine or a new one, their design possibilities are endless. Did you know that with your Cricut machine, you can cut, write, draw, score, and foil with it? You can use it for vinyl, iron-on, cardstock. You can make so many different things with a Cricut machine: purses, pillows, t-shirts, bags, earrings. The possibilities are seriously endless, and the Cricut Explorer 3 cuts 2 to 3 times faster, which means you can make even more items. You can sell items. You can make this into a total business if you wanted to. Cricut gives you the possibilities to make anything possible, and you can even organize your home with it because it makes wonderful looking labels and everything you can find in Cricut Design Space. So if you don't want to create your own items, you can get all the pre-made items right through Cricut. So if you've been waiting to get a Cricut machine, now is the time. Check the link in the description box below and grab yourself one, or you can give it as a gift. So now I'm removing the excess vinyl that I'm not keeping. I'm keeping the letters down, so if you are going to paint this, then you would want to remove the letters. But now I am attaching the transfer tape onto the letters. I know it's hard to see because it's white on white vinyl, but I'm using my scraper tool here and I am pressing that on, getting out all the air bubbles, and I flip it over and really press it onto the back side. That way I can just peel off the backing of the vinyl and it clears off. Finer detail things like flowers and really intricate cuttings will require you to scrape that area a little bit more to really make sure that it's actually on the transfer tape. But it comes off really easily. It's super easy to work with. And once you have that, then you're gonna go ahead and place it upside down on your work surface. So I never stick this on sticky side down. I like to take my measurement first and make sure everything is even. Once I get that even, then I will flip it over and use my tools as a guide basically, and then I will just lay it there, double check everything, and then I will use my scraper tool and press on all of the letters and the flowers. Whatever my design is, I'm pressing that on, making sure that that is pressed into the sign and there's no air bubbles in it. Then I'm going to take the transfer tape and pull it off at an angle. That way I can remove it. And I didn't even notice that my letters came off here. And so since you're pressing this into the design, the transfer tape actually has indents where all the other letters were. And so it's really easy just to reapply those. I just used my scraper tool and made sure that they were stuck on. And then I actually saved the transfer tape for another use. So I just saved the backing to it. We always like to reuse items here. And then for the flowers, I ended up just removing a little bit more of the detail that I couldn't quite see because I was using white vinyl on white backing. But look how beautiful the sign turned out. I just love it. I found these in my sewing box, and I just thought that they might work for this. A clear Velcro, basically, and we're just going to put those on in each corner, I think. Yeah. And they don't have too much adhesive, but they're sticky enough to where they're not gonna obviously come off. The other side on here, that way I can press the sign on and everything will be lined up perfectly. Okay. Oh, our beautiful sign. I just love it. So let's see if I did my measurements correctly. Look at that, it fits right in. And now I'm just gonna squish it down on each corner really, really good. Although I probably should have put one in the middle. Well, we'll see what happens. You were making this with a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood. What you'd wanna do is just grab a 1x2, and they're usually, well, now they're more expensive, but you would stain them, and then what you would do is you would add a bead of glue on top of the actual sign, and then you would use a nailer or some finished nails and nail that in, and you basically create a frame for it. And then you can hang it with regular hooks. But this isn't going anywhere, so perfect. Okay, so now we gotta add our hook on the back here. Gotta add this so we can hang it back up. I'm trying to see if I can see the holes from last time I did it, but I don't. So I just take the measurement in the middle. So we're at 35.25. So 35 would be 17.5. So we're gonna go just a little bit more than that for the middle of it. And then put that right there. We're gonna hammer that in. There we go. There it is. It's so beautiful. Let's see how good it looks up on the wall. To hang this, I'm just centering it between 2 boards, and then I'm using a question mark hook. That way it will be able to pop out enough to hold it, especially since the boards stick out. There we go. I think it looks really good here. I do, because it's at that eye point, and I don't know. I just think it looks really good there. Now we gotta change up the pillows. I like this pillow, but I wanna add some color here, so I'm gonna do that. All right, I have a couple different fall pillows. But it's finding the right one for the space. So this one's too bright. These ones are white. So I'm thinking this one is a good one. This is from Target last year. I know they have different options now, but I only was able to get one. So this might be perfect for the entryway. Let's go see. Add that there. So we got the cream blanket that I'm keeping. This kind of rusty color, I think looks really good, brings it in. It still looks good with the olive tree. I'm gonna leave that for fall. Christmas I'll change it, but I think I'm gonna add a lumbar pillow too. I'm thinking kind of like that. What do you think? 2 pillows? 1 pillow. Let's do 2 for now. I'll remove the tags, don't worry. Oh, that looks so much better. So you got a few options for florals. I can do the dried, which I don't think looks bad, but I think because the mirror's lighter, I don't want to use this coloring. I also have the rusty eucalyptus from last year that Target carried. Oh, loved this so much. I was hoping they'd bring it back this year, but I don't think I've seen it. And it does look really good. I do like that with it. But then I also got these new ones this year, and they're just like a pretty like purpley plum color, and I think they're considered baby's breath, don't really know, but I like the color. It's got that, I don't know, like it still has that fall color to it. I'm thinking maybe these ones. Got a couple other vase options we can use besides the paper mache bowl, which I'm not feeling anymore. I'm not really sure why. This is a little too tall. Thinking this or this one. This is from Target dollar section years ago, and that's from Michael's. So let's go see which one works. Oh, I gotta take that tag off the bottom of it. Those are kind of pretty. I gotta go get the rest of them. I'm really liking this. I think this is good. This could be taller though, I feel like. Trying to find a couple pumpkins that might work a little bit better for this space. I cannot wait to finish decorating the rest of the house, and I hope you're excited too. I thought these two looked really beautiful, and I really like the darker colors for this fall. I think it's really beautiful, and my inspiration from this was just to draw from those red maples. They're just so beautiful, and I feel like it just works really well for the entryway. You'll have to let me know what colors you're doing for fall this year, but hopefully you learned a little something. Hope you got some ideas for fall decorating today. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button. I love to be able to inspire and motivate you here. And definitely be sure to check out Cricut. Everything I shared in today's video will be linked down in the description box below, including the Cricut design I did for the sign, so you can get it and make it yourself. So with that, have a beautiful day. Thank you for spending part with me, and I'll see you soon.
Never bothered about what could become.